क्या आपने कभी ऐसे रिटायरमेंट की कल्पना की है जो कॉलेज लाइफ की तरह हो? वही टेंशन फ्री लाइफ, मौज मस्ती और हम उम्र दोस्तों का साथ। एक खूबसूरत जगह। आप अपनी जिंदगी के सहेजे हुए खूबसूरत पलों को दोबारा से जिएं।
We have a very special commemoration today, one that I, and I suspect like many of you, was unaware of in any detail until very recently. And in fact, the longer I live and the more I learn about Polish history, and the more I continue to be surprised by the many varied aspects of the experiences of Polish people around the world during and after World War II in particular. But today, it is India and the Indian peoples to whom we offer our gratitude for their generosity of spirit towards Polish refugees and Polish orphans in particular during that conflict. I'd like to introduce Mrs. Sophie Skarbek, President of the Polish Siberiaks Association in Australia, to talk about her experiences in India and to acknowledge the generosity she received as a young child during World War II from the Indian community.
I will talk about India and my experiences there. It was in 1942 that India, still under British rule, opened its borders for us, Polish refugees. At first, we lived for several months on the huge army tents in a transit camp in Karachi, which was called jokingly the country club. It was in the middle of a desert with nothing around. From Karachi, families, usually fatherless, were dispersed to different countries. Some went to Africa, Lebanon, and Polish orphans were sent to South Africa and New Zealand. Our fathers were fighting Germans in places like Tobruk and Italy alongside Indian and Australian soldiers. Some lost their lives very early on in World War II. Those of us who survived and who were in India, we spent 5 or 6 very happy years. And close to 1,000 Polish orphans found refuge with the Khan Maharaja, Jan Dikvijay Singhji. I apologize for any mispronunciation, of Nala Nagar, who built an orphanage on his estate in Balachali. Some 5,000 Poles lived in a camp in Valifada, which was near Kolhapur. The camp was very well organized, with primary, secondary, and trade schools. A church and hospital were built. We had doctors, a dentist, Dr. Rosenthal, whose widow, Lala Rosenthal, was to be here, if she's sick. There were nurses and nursing assistants. There was a cinema and a community hall. We had scouting and other youth organizations which really flourished. A merchant syndicate and shops were set up. These were staffed by Indian and Polish people together. We had a post office, and the chief postmaster was a very kind young man. He really had a hard job. If someone didn't receive a letter they were waiting for, he would say, soon, soon. Somehow, I don't know how, but we broke through the language barrier. First using sign language, and then we started learning Hindi, and Indian people started learning Polish. We formed friendships with Indian people, inviting them to our cultural gatherings and joining Indians in their many festivals. I had an Indian friend, and she used to come to play with me after school. We remember India and Indian people as fondly, and I believe that is how we are remembered in India. We shared the same sad and happy times. I remember the sad time when Gandhi was assassinated and we joined in the with the locals in their sorrow. When India won independence, we joined them in their celebrations. We wore flower garlands for Polish and Indian holidays, and they were made by Indian women who brought them to our camp. My mother wore a sari for special occasions, and an Indian friend placed the red bindi on her forehead, which signifies, I believe, that she was a married woman. We ate curry, placed on banana leaves with our fingers, sitting cross-legged on beds, just like the locals. As kids, we used to follow the funeral processions, which were passing by our camp and going to the river. It's at the river where the bodies were burned according to Indian custom. I remember the wagons pulled by white bullocks, bodies wrapped in white and flowers everywhere. We knew a Polish woman, and Mrs. Lenowska, who came to India in 1935 and loved India so much, she stayed until 97, her uncle died. She was a devotee of Gandhi and spent a lot of time by his side. She used to come to our camp and tell us all about Gandhi and his philosophy of peace and non-aggression. Our senior scouts, including my brother Janusz, went on expeditions to Goa and Madras. They met Indian scouts and shared campfires and sang together. They marveled at the incredible Hindu temple architecture with very intricate carvings of many, many gods. Later on, when I read people's memoirs of years in India, they all said these were our happy days. Gratitude to the Maharaja, whom I mentioned before, a statue was erected in Poland, in Warsaw. He is now actually being honored in New York at the United Nations. We are grateful to our Indian friend, Dr. Anuradha Pataraji, for writing the book, The Second Homeland. For that is how we felt about India. My brother Janusz Kurzea is in Perth, and his wife Danuta, who came to Australia via Africa, have asked me to join us in extending our thanks and greetings to the Indian community in Australia. So we're extending our thanks to the Indian community in Australia and Mother India. My brother used to always say, Namaste. The spirit within me salutes the spirit within you, for we are all made from the same one divine consciousness. Thank you. And also in conclusion, I wish to thank the Minister on behalf of Polish Barracks in Victoria and also the Multicultural Commission for your continuing support. Thank you very much.
The Honourable Robin Scott, Minister for Multicultural Affairs and Minister for Finance.
Thank you very much. Firstly, let me acknowledge traditional owners of the land on which we meet and pay my respects to their elders, both past and present. I have a prepared speech, but I think it's probably better to respond directly to the what we've heard, but also what I've become aware of. You couldn't have found a more terrible time than World War II. We forget the horror in history, and the Polish people particularly suffered. There's an area where there was particular death, suffering, and many people fled literally for their lives to seek solace and to seek safety. And a story of this where the Indian people provided such a welcome home is one that reminds us of the fundamental underpinnings of what we regard in multiculturalism as being worthwhile, which is empathy and understanding. Of seeing another person who may look different, may have different skin colour, may speak a different language, may worship a different god or gods, of course, in the Hindu context. But to see them as a fellow human being with dignity, honour, and a worth to be respected. So I was thanked for coming along today, but I really would like to thank everyone for organising this event, because it really celebrates a really worthwhile part of history and part of a glimmer of light in a very dark time, but also fundamentally represents the values that we would like to see in our society. And I think it does honour to the Polish community in Victoria and the Indian community for celebrating this time of dignity and honour in what was one of the world's, literally perhaps the world's, maybe historically, the worst time. And we should never glorify war, and we should not look upon killing as something as virtuous. We should see virtue in the love, kindness and warmth shown to others in their times of need. So thank you very much. It's an honour as a Mr. Multicultural Affairs to be here, and I'd just like to thank, firstly, people from that time for sharing it. That was such a beautiful speech. I have to say thank you very much. But also all of those who show warmth and empathy, and to celebrate such a strong example of the Indian people welcoming Polish refugees during a very dark time. So thank you very much. It's an honour to be here, and it really does, as I said, represent the values which, when we talk about multiculturalism, at the heart is really an acceptance of the common humanity of all of us, and then difference of culture, difference of language becomes a celebration of that diverse human experience, because we accept and see others who are different not as a threat, but as an opportunity for sharing in our common humanity through different cultural, different language, and different religious lenses. Thank you very much.
I'd now like to call on Mr. Rakesh Malhotra, Consul and Head of Chancery from the Indian Consul General's Office in Melbourne.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Consulate of India and my own behalf, I would like to felicitate Australian Multicultural Community Service and Indian Care for organizing this function, where we got the opportunity to meet some of the members of the Polish community who were in India during World War II and hear their stories. India and Poland have deep-rooted relations. These relations have been close and friendly. It dates back to 15th century, when a number of Polish writers, soldiers, and missionaries visited India. During the 19th century, several Sanskrit classics were translated into Polish. The history of ancient India in Polish was one of the first of its kind to be published in Europe in 1820. In the year 2014, which is just 2 years back, 60 years of establishment of diplomatic relations between the two countries were celebrated. To commemorate this historic event, a series of programs like seminars, food festivals, film festivals were held in both countries. In a world saddled with refugee crisis, the Indian Mission in New York recently had an exhibition titled Passage to India, the wartime odyssey of Polish children and the Good Maharaja. The exhibition depicted touching stories of Polish children who were deported from Poland to Serbia in 1941-42 and traveled all the way to India, where Maharaja created a new home for them. Some of these people we have met today also. They have formed the World Association of Poles from India. I would once again like to congratulate the Australian Multicultural Community Service and Indian Care for organizing this event so that we can refresh the old memories. Thank you.
Call on Jay Manchikanti, President of Indian Care, to say a few words. Thank you.
Namaskaram. Can you hear me?
Yes, we do.
I'd like to begin my speech today by first acknowledging the traditional owners of the land we stand on and pay my respects to the elders, both past and present. I'd also like to pay my respects to the many elders in the room here, particularly to Sophie and her friends from the Polish Siberians Association. I acknowledge the presence of many dignitaries here, too many to name one by one. But I do thank you for being here. This afternoon, Sophie narrated to us a story that is not well known, and I think it's something we need to remember, and also it shows a little generosity can go a long way. It is this theme of kindness that I'd like to spend just a few minutes talking about, and also tell you about Indian care. Through the warmth and courage shown by Maharaja Jamsaheb Digvijayji towards World War II Polish orphans in the early 1940s, which then paved the way for thousands more Polish families to obtain refuge in India, we have now been able to meet the delightful people from the Polish Siberians Association. In a similar fashion, during the last 3 years, the Australian Multicultural Community Services has extended generosity and kindness to Indian care. AMCS has been providing backbone support to enable Indian care to set up properly and begin delivering its service. Indian Care set up in 2014 as a not-for-profit organisation to address the welfare needs of people of Indian origin in Victoria. While many other migrant communities in Victoria have their own welfare-based organisations, the Indian community lacks one, which is totally dedicated to the welfare needs. So, despite us being a larger migrant community in Victoria, we don't have a uniquely dedicated welfare organisation. This is an obvious and glaring gap in the service sector, and Indian Care is now aiming to fill that gap. At the moment, we are a totally volunteer-based organisation. However, we would like to provide a professional service by connecting the Indian community to the existing service sector in a culturally sensitive manner. We hope that we will have much success so that those who are feeling vulnerable in our community can become strong and vibrant. I'd like to end this short speech by thanking the members of the Polish Siberians Association for sharing their stories with us and for allowing me to say a few words about Indian Care and also showcasing multiculturalism through the partnership between Indian Care and MCS. In the spirit of good old-fashioned Indian hospitality, we do have some sweets that we would like to give to the Polish Siberians Association, which we will do a little bit later. But thank you so much, and I hope that brings back warm memories for you. Thank you.
All of us here today have a privilege to share a special story of Polish and Indian people. Although the support and shelter offered to Polish refugees happened more than 70 years ago, this is never forgotten by the people who experienced it.
अनीता कितना काम करोगी? थोड़ा आराम कर लो।
आराम का प्लान तो बना लिया है मैंने। वर्ल्ड टूर पे भी जाएंगे, लेट नाइट शोज भी देखेंगे और जितना मर्जी उतना सोएंगे।
अच्छा, पर कैसे?
हमारे रिटायरमेंट की तैयारी तो शुरू कर दी है, वरना एक हाउसवाइफ का रिटायर होना तो मुश्किल है।
तो आज ही शुरू कीजिए लंबी इनिंग्स की तैयारी।